Could you imagine Biden doing this? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Now on Fox 13 News at 9, day one of President Donald Trump's second term in office is one for the history books. A wave of executive orders signed in the Oval Office this evening.
So this is January 6th. These are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for a pardon. Full pardon.
From sweeping pardons and major shifts in border policy to withdrawing from the Paris Climate Treaty and pumping the brakes on a TikTok ban, Fox 13 News breaks it all down.
We're doing all of this on our very first day in office. We're not finished yet. We got a long way to go.
And it wasn't just a busy day in Washington.
Come on, put your hands together.
It's exciting, but there's a lot more to do. This is just the beginning.
It's Inauguration Day in Utah. See how one group is celebrating from Salt Lake City all the way to Linden.
We'll take you to the rallies in the Beehive State for and against the returning Commander-in-Chief. Team coverage of the inauguration of President Donald Trump starts now. It was a historic day for our country. After 4 years away from the Oval Office, Donald Trump is again the President of the United States. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Evans. On this first day of his second presidency, Mr. Trump wasted no time signing numerous executive orders. Scripps News correspondent Maya Rodriguez kicks off our team coverage.
It's been a dramatic first day for the second Trump presidency, filled with high ceremony and rapid-fire executive orders.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
And with that, the 45th president of the United States became the 47th, the capstone to a remarkable political comeback.
I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success. A tide of change is sweeping the country. Sunlight is pouring over the entire world.
His campaign promises to dramatically change American life won him the office. And in his inaugural speech, Trump immediately moved to deliver with a series of executive orders on everything from energy and tariffs to sending the military to secure the southern border.
With these actions, we will begin the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense.
Trump painted a dark picture of the America he now leads, saying the Biden administration has presided over what Trump called a horrible betrayal, listing a catalog of ills, sometimes exaggerated, and promised to fix them.
All of this will change starting today. My message to Americans today is that it is time for us to once again act with courage, vigor, and the vitality of history's greatest civilization.
After the speech, a joyful parade at the Capital One Arena, the cold forcing all outside activities safely indoors. And ever the showman, President Trump brought down the House by signing executive orders, to the delight of his supporters. For Trump's supporters, it's been a day of jubilation, as well as anxiety for those who fear what his second term in office might hold. But it's also a moment of national tradition. The peaceful transfer of power. Maya Rodriguez, Scripps News, Washington.
During President Trump's inaugural speech, he announced the crackdown on illegal immigration and the push to deport criminals from American prisons back to Mexico. It would be the largest deportations operation in our country's history. Fox 13 News reporter Avery Klanowski continues our team coverage with local reaction.
I think a lot of immigrants here are living in fear.
On President Trump's inauguration day, his administration ended CBP One, a border app that gave legal entry to nearly 1 million migrants, and repeated his plan to declare illegal immigration at the U.S.'s southern border a national emergency.
There are plenty of people that came through the processes and are going through the processes legally.
Gina Craze with Salt Lake City Immigrant Legal Services says many of her clients are fearful.
It's really frightening for folks. So what would I tell them? Have your documents handy. You know, some of them have have a document that'll show that they can work. Have that in your pocket.
She has advice for people who are concerned.
There's a card that they can get online, or they can come to our office and get it, and it's called Know Your Rights. The card explains that you are exercising your right to refuse to answer questions until you've talked to a lawyer.
Advocacy group The Party for Socialism and Liberation gathered at the state capitol on Monday. One member says they're supporting their community.
I think it is important to do get to know your rights training, know that they have a right to a just process.
The National Immigration Justice Center recommends seeking an attorney and creating a safety plan.
I think the process is very long. I think it's very expensive, but I think there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I think it is really worth it.
In Salt Lake City, Avery Klanowski, Fox 13 News, Utah.
President Trump made good on his promise to save TikTok. He signed an executive order this evening that delays enforcement of the ban for 75 days. That comes after former President Joe Biden signed a law in April that requires TikTok to be sold to a U.S. company or one of its allies. TikTok temporarily went dark over the weekend when the ban was supposed to go into effect until Mr. Trump promised to issue an extension. Technically speaking, the law is still in effect. The executive order only delays enforcement of it. President Trump also issued sweeping pardons to January 6th defendants and ordered the Justice Department to dismiss the indictments of those with pending cases. It means 18 Utahns convicted or charged in connection with the Capitol riot will receive clemency. For one of those, activist John Sullivan, convicted of having a weapon at the Capitol, it means being released from prison. Fox 13 News investigative reporter Nate Carlisle spoke with Brad Bukowski of Eagle Mountain. Both he and his son were convicted of nonviolent misdemeanors and have been serving probation.
It's just amazing. I cried a bit. I'm so happy. Hopefully I can use this to get back to a normal lifestyle. And then it is also a start of a path for some restorative justice that I'm working with other J6ers on. I'm happy to be pardoned. I'm happy to accept the pardon. Once again, I personally believe this was entrapment on the grandest scale. And everyone, whether violence was committed, and it was committed because it was provoked by the government and its agencies.
A Scripps News and Ipsos poll in November found the majority of Americans opposed January 6th pardons. We'll have a list of all of today's executive orders on our website, fox13now.com. Another executive order signed by President Trump has now withdrawn the U.S. from the World Health Organization. Mr. Trump cited a number of reasons for the withdrawal, including the WHO's, quote, mishandling of the COVID-19 pandemic and the, quote, failure to adopt urgently needed reforms. He said the agency demands unfairly onerous payments from the United States and complained that China pays less. Utahns gathered to watch the inauguration today. There was a parade and rally that started at the state capitol and ended in Linden. Fox 13 News reporter Julia Sandor went along.
Starting off at the state capitol and driving all the way to Linden. One group of Utahns tell me that they're ready to start a new chapter this inauguration day.
Come on, put your hands together.
Waving their flags and sporting their President Trump gear. The group known as Utah Patriots gathered to watch the president be sworn into office.
I helped Trump got elected the first time and then struck out the second time, and now we're here again.
Kish North runs Utah Patriots and organized this event that brought dozens of people together.
It's very emotional. It's quite an accomplishment for everyone in the United States. All patriots, all people that support Trump. It's an accomplishment for each and every one of us.
So it's great to be able to come back together, meet in these, whether small or big groups, and recognize that we all support each other.
Chair of the Salt Lake County Republican Party, Chris Knoll, says it's been years of hard work that led to this moment.
And I'm really excited because Utah is on the right path.
Well, You know, it's been exciting to be with like-minded people who value liberty and freedom in our country.
As for what's next, this group says they still have work to do.
It's exciting, but there's a lot more to do. This is just the beginning.
In Linden, Julia Sandor, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Utah Governor Spencer Cox was in Washington today for the inauguration. He shared images on X and watched from Emancipation Hall and said he is praying for peace and the president. Tomorrow we'll hear more from Governor Cox about his experience at the inauguration and his views on the 2025 legislative session, which gets underway tomorrow morning on Utah's Capitol Hill. 40 Utah Highway Patrol troopers were in Washington today to help with public safety.
This is my first experience being here for inauguration. I've been with High Patrol for over 13 years. My first opportunity, but I'm excited. I know the weather's going to be a factor, especially as they've changed some things. We've kind of had to shift and adjust our response as well.
Sergeant Bishop says he is thrilled for the honor of being asked to help despite the cold temperatures. Back here at home this afternoon, demonstrators in Utah gathered at the state capitol to oppose President Trump's agenda.
We want to encourage people to know that that as a community, as a collective force, we can push back against the ruling class, push back against the powers that be, the Trump administration, and any sort of types of invasive things that they do to our communities.
The crowd chanted, "Immigrants are welcome here." Today's rally was organized by the Salt Lake branch of the Party for Socialism and Liberation. The Garfield County Commission wants to name a road after President Trump. The commission is proposing to name the Burr Trail Scenic Byway, or Backway, connecting Boulder to Highway 276 as the Donald J. Trump Presidential Burr Trail Backway, or the road connecting Antimony to Scenic Byway 12 as the Donald J. Trump Presidential Highway. A public hearing is scheduled for next Monday, January 27th at 1:30 p.m. in Panguitch. There will surely be a lot to unpack during the first 100 days, I should say, of President Trump's second term in office. Fox 13 News will be there every step of the way with updates on air and online at fox13now.com. Well, Breck, the inauguration got moved indoors because of the cold weather in Washington, but tell us what the high was in Washington today.
Washington, D.C., it was 28 degrees, but with a little wind.
28 degrees.
I know. But hey, a little bit more humidity there, and they did have some wind, so the wind chill temperature was 15 degrees. So, yeah, you don't want to spend too much time outside.
All right.
Of course, we're having to bear with the cold right now here across the state, and for most of the country. Clear skies right now, view from our Oquirrh Mountain cameras. We're going to keep keeping skies clear here across northern Utah. Your current temperatures -3 at this hour in Salt Lake City, as well as Evanston, single digits in Logan. As you move up near Bear Lake, we're looking at temperatures near 0 degrees, most spots in the teens and even single digits turning towards west central Utah. Milford, Cedar City with low 30s at this hour in St. George. Your current temperature in Vernal at 10 degrees. Now, we're still having some winds out there. Stronger towards southwestern Utah as we had wind advisories in effect, but as we add on the winds and the temperatures, this is what it feels like outside right now. -21 in Evanston, -20 in Rock Springs. These are dangerous wind chill temperatures here along the Wasatch Front. Again, those wind chill temperatures in the single digits and sub-zero Milford and Cedar City. Now, clear skies. We'll see a few high clouds rolling through northern Utah, but we've got this cold northerly flow going on right now, and that means here in the overnight hours, temperatures dipping down into the teens. Again, that's the temperatures here as we look along the Wasatch Front, but again, wind chill temperatures should be in the single digits as well. So we have some extreme cold warnings in effect. We're hanging on to the chill, but for how long? Well, we've got a storm system. We need to talk about that. We'll talk about that coming up in just a bit.
All right, thank you, Breck. Coming up, a Utah reservoir is now closed to the public. The safety concerns officials say led to this decision.
Nearly 3 weeks after a West Valley City double homicide ended with the suspect being shot by police, the department is releasing body cam video. What we're learning from the footage tonight.
Nearly 3 weeks after police shot and killed a suspect in a double homicide in West Valley City, police body camera video was released today. Police described what happened as disturbing and a tragedy. Fox 13 News reporter Jeremy Toms was at police headquarters to see the video as it went public.
West Valley City officers were so chilled by the nature of the Entorado Avenue scene they encountered on New Year's Day.
And when you see this video, you're going to wonder, why would we release such a disturbing incident for the public to view?
That Chief Colleen Jacobs said they didn't even want to release the footage which captured those events.
911, what is the city status of your emergency?
It begins with a 911 call, in which you can't gather much more than commotion, but it prompts officers to respond. Then the scene is captured by 5 body-worn cameras, with camera 1 being the initial officer to arrive on scene. After knocking at the front door, officers move around the house and see or hear something concerning coming from the basement. That's when they rush in. What follows is too graphic for us to show, but captures suspect Eric Bertelson stabbing his parents, Terry and Carrie.
Show me your hands! Get your hands up! Show me your hands!
After he ignores police commands, the officer shoots twice.
Drop it! Drop it! Drop it!
Ending the attack. After the video concluded, an emotional Chief Jacobs gave us her own interpretation of that chilling scene that officers came upon.
I see a tragedy. A very tragic incident that happened with the parties involved and for the officers involved as well.
Chief Jacobs says the officer involved is on administrative leave, but this day continues to affect their department nearly 3 weeks later.
It was a very traumatic event for the officers, but they're pulling through.
In West Valley City, Jeremy Toms, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The investigation is being led by Salt Lake Police, so Chief Jacobs couldn't answer questions about a possible motive or the suspect's prior arrests. But she confirmed Bertelson had a history with police and that officers had been to the house before. Family friends told us a welfare check was done on the home just days before the double homicide. The Summit County Sheriff's Office says they've arrested someone who stole multiple skis and snowboards from the Sunrise Lodge in Park City. Authorities say they were stolen last Thursday and then listed for sale on Facebook Marketplace. Detectives were able to arrest the suspect in an undercover operation. Police are working to return the stolen items to their rightful owners. The suspect is now in the Summit County Jail. Settlement Canyon Reservoir in Tooele has been closed because of safety concerns. Officials acknowledge the inconvenience but say it's necessary because of the ice dangers. Last year, a 20-year-old man died while rescuing a woman who had fallen in. And in 2023, a 14-year-old died when a group of teens fell through the ice. Settlement Canyon Irrigation Company, a private nonprofit that provides irrigation water to Tooele City, says its efforts to educate people about the risks have failed. But this is not a permanent closure. Ice on any body of water, especially at this time of year, you just can't take it for granted that it's going to hold you.
Yeah, you have to be careful. We'll be building a little bit of ice. They'll do these cold temperatures, but you've got to be mindful, of course, as we do any recreation on that ice, you got to be mindful of how thick that is and what to do. Now, cold temperatures, that's the main story. We're looking at today's high temperature in Salt Lake City, 26 degrees. Afternoon highs almost 15 degrees below average. We started off in the teens as we're heading to the low teens here across northern Utah for tonight, at least here along the Wasatch Front, but in other locations, downright in some areas dangerously cold. We're currently in Logan at this hour. We're in the teens. Right now 9 degrees in Evanston as we look towards, these are the high temperatures. We got up to 19 degrees in Logan. We got up to only 9 degrees in Evanston, low 20s in Vernal. Looks like low 40s for your high today in St. George. Looking along the Wasatch Front as we stand in the teens with a little bit of a breeze though. These temperatures, as we look at the wind chill, more along the lines of single digits right now. That'll be the case waking up tomorrow morning. With that, National Weather Service, at least across portions of southern Utah, extreme cold warning, Zion National Park, heading over towards near Lake Powell. Now, everyone's going to be feeling these cold temperatures. These are just areas that we don't typically see this type of temperature reading here as we look towards tomorrow morning. But across northern Utah, again, in some spots, we're going to be looking at very, very cold wind chill temperatures. Again, looking at the winds plus the current temperatures, this is what it's going to feel like outside, where right now we're noticing some wind chill temperatures in the minus 20 degree territory. Evanston heading over towards Randolph. Now, waking up tomorrow morning, looks like we'll be looking at between minus 10, minus 15 for Rich County, heading up through Woodruff, Randolph. Smithville looks like you'll see a reading from tomorrow morning, minus 4. Again, these are wind chill temperatures that we'll also be experiencing with single digits here along the Wasatch Front. Wide range view. This is why we're saying areas such as Lake Powell heading over towards Zion National Park. Wind chill temperatures also in the single digits in a few locations below 0. So another chilly morning, even colder than we saw yesterday, and some of the coldest temperatures that we've seen thus far this season. Now, clear conditions, a few high clouds will be rolling here across northern Utah, but we're feeling that chill here for tomorrow. As we keep that northerly flow, temperatures look again to be below average, whereas we look at your overnight lows, this is what the temperature reading will be, teens and single digits for most spots. But again, with that wind chill temperatures, many spots is sub-zero, but we'll be looking at an overnight low in Park City at minus 2, 1 in Logan. Tomorrow, warmer. We're going to see almost a 10-degree swing in the right direction here, but still below average, as we'll be experiencing low 30s here along the Wasatch Front, 30s and 40s through central Utah, only getting up to 44 degrees in St. George. We've got the sunshine, as we'll see a little bit of a wind in St. George. Calm on Wednesday, warmer as we get back into the 50s. Good news is we're lining things up for a weekend storm. Finally seeing some precip in St. George with a mixture of rain and snow Sunday and maybe a few scattered showers on Monday. This is desperately a place that we need to see some moisture. Now for northern Utah, as we go to mid 30s to upper 30s, back into the 40s, the warm before the storm. We'll see some haze just a little bit. Then we see snow back in the area for the weekend. Seems like we're getting these storms on the weekend with snow showers both Saturday and Sunday. Then we'll see a little bit of a temperature drop. But get ready for the cold here come tomorrow morning. But good news, we're back on the rise. We're back after the break.
Just hours after President Trump's inauguration, the Senate unanimously confirmed Marco Rubio as Secretary of State. Rubio represented Florida in the Senate since 2011. He's the first cabinet designee for the new Trump administration to be confirmed. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has named Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody to fill the Senate seat being vacated by Rubio. Billionaire Vivek Ramaswamy is opting to bow out of the newly formed Department of Government Efficiency. He was set to lead this new group that would essentially trim unnecessary spending in the federal government with fellow billionaire Elon Musk. But now, Ramaswamy is reportedly planning on launching a campaign for Ohio governor. Former President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden traveled to Santa Ynez, California, to a vacation home that they own there. Former President Biden spoke at a send-off ceremony at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland.
My sincere gratitude, and I really mean it from the bottom of my heart. I've been doing this for 50 years with the best group of people. Hard to say. It's been the honor of my life to serve as your president.
Ultimately, the Bidens are expected to spend the majority of their time in Delaware.
I looked up to her a lot because she was so driven. Everything she put her mind to, she went for it. She accomplished it.
Coming up, Fox 13 News speaks to the family of a southern Utah teen who died in a drive-by shooting over the weekend.
MLK Day is for everyone.
And we'll take you to the Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration on Utah's Capitol Hill. We have a heartbreaking story tonight in southern Utah. There is a memorial at the site where Iron County Sheriff's deputies say 17-year-old Kaylee Dutton's pickup crashed through a fence after she was shot 12 times. This afternoon, Fox 13 News reporter Chris Reed sat down with Kaylee's parents as they shared memories of their daughter.
She would never take no for an answer. I was even talking to her last week about it. I'm like, do you know what the word no means?
Can you get off my dirt bike now?
On this desolate road in the outskirts of Enoch and Cedar City is where Kaylee Dutton lost her life.
I looked up to her a lot because she was so driven. Everything she put her mind to, she went for it. She accomplished it.
The memorial where Kaylee's pickup that she had bought with her own money 3 weeks prior came to rest has a toy motorcycle with the words, "Fly high, Kaylee."
Fly high and ride. That's all she wanted to do, was just ride her dirt bike all the time.
Kimberly Dutton said riding a dirt bike was something Kaylee had done since she was 3, taking after her mom. Whatever it was, Kimberly said Kaylee would set out to do it, graduating from high school as a junior, football, softball, welding, even bull riding. Now many in the Cedar City and Enoch communities have come together to help the Duttons and honor Kaylee's memory. That includes Alex Kennedy, who runs Venom Tattoos, where Kaylee made an impression when she got her first one there.
She was such a sweet girl. She was awesome. It was great tattooing her. She was darling, and so kind of breaks my heart.
Kenny said in 24 hours, she's received 150 messages from people wanting to participate in a fundraiser at the parlor, one of many for Kaylee. Kimberly said she and her daughter will like an Enoch version of Gilmore Girls.
I was a baby having a baby, and we grew up together, and she taught me things, I taught her things, and it's just been me and her since day one. And I've said this before, and I'll say it till the day I die, that she saved me.
Kaylee was Kimberly's maid of honor when she married Raylan, who has since adopted her. Raylan said Kaylee was always looking for something to do, including last Friday night.
She came in, her mom said, "Where are you going now, Kaylee?" She said, "I don't know, we're gonna go find something." My last words to her was, "Just be careful."
Now they say the memories of Kaylee provide laughter and crying, along with the anger that she's gone.
We just sit here on the couch and look out the window and just
wait for her to come
We
home.
just wait for her to walk in the door. Like, she's out riding or she's out in her truck.
From Enoch, Chris Reed, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Today, the nation honored the memory of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the civil rights leader, activist, and Baptist minister, led the civil rights movement in the 1960s, but was gunned down by an assassin at the age of 39. Celebrations to honor Dr. King were held across the country, including here in Utah. Fox 13 News reporter Maya Constantino takes us to one celebration on Utah's Capitol Hill.
People gathered, drummed, and rallied, all to commemorate one of the most prominent leaders in the civil rights movement from 1955 until his assassination in 1968. Janessa Jamoy gathered with others at the Capitol. She says as a person with mixed race roots, Dr. King's work means a lot to her.
It wasn't even possible for me to be here not that long ago. Like at the time that my grandparents were born, there was still legalized segregation. To be given those opportunities and experiences to love who I want to love, to be who I want to be, and to go to college where I want to go, to travel where I want to go. I know that he created that bridge for me.
At the University of Utah, hundreds of advocates and students rallied. Student body president Joe Boyden was one of those students. He shared Dr. King's philosophies that he lives by.
To remember values and principles of human rights going forward in a really wildly changing world, AI, new presidents coming in, so on.
In Salt Lake City, Maya Constantino, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Coming up, a BYU alumni who competed in the Paris Olympics has accomplished something pretty big. Hear from Connor Mantz about the record he just broke.
Let's go back outside, look at these current temperatures. Sub-zero, as you can see in Evanston over towards Park City. But we're on a warming trend before our next storm system. Will this next storm bring some snow? I'll let you know after the break.
We want to share a remarkable achievement now by a long-distance runner from Provo. We last told you about BYU alum Connor Mantz when he qualified for the Paris Olympics last year. He placed 8th then. But tonight there's another big milestone to celebrate. Fox 13 News anchor Amy Nay shares his story.
That's a course record and an American record.
We have side by side.
28-year-old Connor Mantz speaking to me this Monday from his home in Provo less than 24 hours after breaking the half marathon record in Houston, coming across that finish line at 59 minutes and 17 seconds.
Feels pretty good.
At a press conference in Texas right after the race with Ethiopia's Adisu Gobina, who actually got the win in a photo finish.
Too close to call.
Connor still got the honors of shattering the previous American record, nearly 2 decades old, by 26 seconds.
That time is fantastic. That's unheard of.
Des, we see history here in Houston.
Announcers Sunday sharing their shock and enthusiasm on the achievement for this former BYU long-distance runner who was already out for another run this morning with members of the BYU men's cross-country team here at home.
I just ran with some of my friends this morning, and they were all elated. They wanted to hear all about it, and that was great.
Recalling to me how it all began.
When I was 12 years old, I ran the Ogden half marathon, and I finished it, and I was pretty happy about that.
Wanting to be like his older brother and his dad, who had run it a few years earlier, training on many rural routes in Cache Valley, where he grew up.
Ran up Smithfield Canyon probably 1,000 times.
Thanking his wife, family, and friends for all their help.
I've been very blessed to be supported by, hundreds of people that have really played big roles in my life.
Amy Nay, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Coming up, there's nothing quite like man's best friend. We'll show you the Utah Highway Patrol's newest canine on Utah's Capitol Hill.
I'm Andrea Urban, and Utah Hockey Club is home tonight hosting Winnipeg, the best team in the West. How they're holding up, it's a fun one. Highlights in sports. Plus, the Utah Jazz face the Pelicans in back-to-back games in New Orleans. What did they learn from Friday, and how'd they look tonight? That's in sports.
There is a new Harry Trooper on duty at the Utah State Capitol. Fox 13 News reporter Maithili Gubi shows us how UHP's team is growing by 4 paws.
Sit. Good boys. Geese. Come on, geese.
Meet the newest member of the team keeping people safe at the Utah State Capitol. This is Ralph, Utah Highway Patrol's explosive detection canine.
He is a 2.5-year-old yellow lab from Hungary. We'll be the 5th team certified up here.
Utah Highway Patrol handles security at the Capitol, which gets pretty busy during the legislative session.
And so we increase our security presence up here about fourfold. And so throughout the session, we'll have troopers that are assigned to the Capitol, and we'll have troopers that come in from all 4 corners of the state to help supplement that.
Check here. Hey. Good boys. That's how good boys.
Canines like Ralph become like family, but they also have a big role to play in public safety.
Hey. Check here. They're super valuable to us. These dogs are able to smell things that we can't smell. Our dogs are through post are trained within at least a minimum of 30 explosive odors, and any combination with that, and also to find recently fired guns and ammunition as well.
Now, if you see Ralph or any of the other canines the next time you're at the Capitol, you can't pet or play with them, but these sweet faces do make every space they're in a little happier.
We use them for things that I wouldn't have even thought, and one of the most important things that they do is just help people feel comfortable and safe here while they're performing their functions or visiting the Capitol.
Oh, good boys. That's a good boys. That's a good boys. Good job.
On Capitol Hill, I am Maithili Gubi, Fox 13 News, Utah.
By the way, tomorrow is the first day of this year's legislative session, and Fox 13 News political reporter Ben Winslow is getting ready for 45 days of constant coverage of the Utah legislature. He'll look at the big issues that will impact your life. Catch Ben's reports only on Fox 13 News and at fox13now.com. Looks like Ralph is a happy dog. Happy to be indoors.
Yeah, I think we'll all be happy to be indoors here for tonight. It's going to be another cold night, Bob. Temperatures across northern Utah, single digits to teens with a little bit of a wind. The wind chill right now in Salt Lake City right at about 10 degrees. Price currently at 16 degrees, but your wind chill temperature right now in the single digits with St. George at 33. But again, we're seeing wind chills with that strong of a wind in the upper teens. It's going to be a cold night. What are we expecting? Yeah, frigid temperatures where in a few locations we have extreme cold warnings in effect. We'll see some sunshine and some haze here across northern Utah. We're going to get brushed by with a little bit of a storm as we go tomorrow night through Wednesday, but a bigger storm on tap for the weekend. Storm bringing snow both across northern and southern Utah. So finally getting southern Utah in the mix. Air quality though, today it was good. Tomorrow expecting to move into that moderate concern yellow both tomorrow through Wednesday. As we've talked about those extreme cold warnings though, particularly as we look towards southern Utah, Zion National Park around Lake Powell. Again, we're going to see cold temperatures throughout the state and dangerous wind chills, especially across extreme northern Utah. But in these areas where typically we don't look at temperatures getting down into the single digits, that's a possibility, especially with the wind chill temperatures with some stronger breezes across southern Utah. Again, looking across the state, tomorrow morning as we wake up, some areas looking at wind chill temperatures even along the Wasatch Front in the single digits below zero. Richfield up through Logan now, as I showed you earlier on. Rich County, so moving up through Bear Lake, Woodruff, Randolph, we could be looking at wind chill temperatures between -10 and -15 degrees and very dangerous wind chill temperatures southwest Wyoming through southern Idaho. Up just north of Bear Lake, Montpelier, we're expecting to see wind chill temperatures down to even more than -20 degrees. So cold temperatures as we're just seeing this invasion of this cold air throughout most of the country, particularly as you move further east, but we're seeing some of that colder air filter in. We've got a couple of storm systems as mentioned. We have a little brush by tomorrow night through Wednesday. Let's take a look at the computer models where as that does move through, it'll bring in some clouds, maybe a few mountain showers there, not producing much. We're going to be looking at less than half of an inch if we see any activity for the mountains. But as we gear up for the weekend, we've got another cold front arriving. This one's going to be pushing through. As we go into Saturday morning, we start to generate some showers here as we're waking up. It's all blue. It's all snow across northern through west central Utah, and then moving towards southern Utah heading into Sunday. So that's a good change here statewide. We need the precipitation. We need the snow, and especially we need it for southern Utah. Now the forecast tomorrow, we'll be looking at a few high clouds. We'll see some sunshine, especially as we move into the afternoon. As we start off in the low teens, highs reaching the mid-30s, expected high in Salt Lake City at 35 degrees, as well as in Provo. So warmer today. We're going to see about a 10-degree bump up in temperatures, even in Logan, as you can see, highs getting up in the upper 20s through central Utah. We should be in the upper 30s to low 40s and even 40s in St. George. Climbing into the 50s. We gear up for that Sunday and Monday. Yes, we'll see a mixture of rain and snow both Sunday and Monday. So it would be nice to get some snow up in the mountains, though, especially as we look between Cedar City down through St. George. Wasatch Front, mostly sunny skies, some haze building in. We warm up into the 40s, then we get hit with the snow and some scattered snow showers on Sunday, as that'll bring temperatures back down. But tomorrow morning is going to be some of the coldest temperatures of the year, so get ready and bundle up.
The Utah Jazz have spent the long weekend in the Big Easy, facing the Pelicans on back-to-back games. Now, both of these teams have very similar records, and it was New Orleans who came out on top on Friday, so tonight Utah looked good early, but how did things go down the stretch? Colin Sexton's out, Lauri Markkanen out, but that's no problem for a group of guys who are proving themselves night in and night out. Utah started the game on a 14-0 run. Isaiah Collier, one of two rookies with a double-double tonight, 20 points and 11 assists for Collier. How about 7 straight from Keontae George? He led Utah with 23. Now the other double-double belonged to Kyle Filipowski, 17 on the boards, and look at him, big bodying his way to the hoop for 2 of his 10. Now, down the stretch, CJ McCollum went off, bringing it within 5 off this fadeaway J, then tying the game at 92 from nearly the exact same spot and taking the lead with the pull-up 3, 45 points for CJ McCollum. We head into overtime where Trey Murphy seals the deal from behind the arc, and Utah falls 123-119 in OT. Utah Hockey Club is in the Delta Center tonight, hosting the #1 team in the Western Conference, the Winnipeg Jets. Now, the good news is Utah is coming into this one off a 4-2 victory over the Blues on Saturday, so the vibes were high heading into this one. Connor Ingram in the goal tonight for Utah as they face Winnipeg. Jumping to late in the first period on the fast break, Jets strike, and Connor Ingram makes the unreal save, protecting both sides of the net. Now, at the start of the second period, Captain Clayton Keller gets hit in the face when they're setting up their offense. He went straight to the locker room after that one, taking another look there, the side of his face with contact. But of course, the captain returns late in the second. Ali Mata, the slap shot toward the goal, and Kells tips it in to put Utah on the board. Now, Logan Cooley's earned 3 points the other night, so let's keep it going. He breaks away and finds the back of the net. Utah leads this game 4-2 after a Barrett Hayton goal and then some in the third period. And today was the annual Best of Utah meet, where Utah, BYU, Utah State, and Southern Utah were all at the Maverick Center. Leave it to Olympian Grace McCallum to get things started off the right foot. Off the uneven bar, she sticks the landing, a 9.925. And McKenna Smith, she really shined for the Utes, earning the best vault score of the entire meet, a 9.950. And she matched the score on balance beam, winning the all-around. The Red Rocks took first with a 197.950, while the Thunderbirds took second, Aggies third, and the Cougars fourth. Notre Dame and Ohio State in the college football playoff national championship. The Fighting Irish were on the board first, but the Buckeye offense was too much to handle. 3 unanswered in the second quarter. Quarterback Will Howard with over 230 passing yards as Ohio State takes the title 34-23 over Notre Dame.
Shanti Lerner wore her Ohio State sweatshirt
yeah,
today.
She
You
did.
saw her.
She was ready. Well,
She was
I
ready.
went to Michigan State, so it does pain me a little bit to see them win, but also it's Big Ten, Bob, so.
Yeah.
But Hockey Club, they're about to beat the best team in the West.
Is
so.
Clayton Keller okay? I mean, how bad was he hit?
You know, they said it kind of bounced off of his helmet and his cheek. That's kind of what I was seeing.
Really?
So he went back out and scored a goal. It doesn't surprise me one bit.
I tell you, those hockey guys are tough. Yeah. We'll be right back. Thanks for being part of Fox 13 News at 9. Quickcast is up next.